It's finally Friday. Tonight's tasty tidbits. Lake Poyang turns up the heat. Emperor gets grilled. Galveston, we have a problem, says Union. And Sputnik 1 launched. Aliens demand better TV reception. Plus, coming up, renowned chef Pierre Escargot will attempt to cook a meal on the moon using only a toaster and a vacuum cleaner. Those are the headlines. May the farce be with you.
Hernodin News Bang, hurling grappling hooks of truth into the swirling drain of deception. The Dean, as in 1363.
The Yuan Dynasty has been toppled by a group of fashion-forward rebels known as the Red Turbans. These stylish insurgents, led by the dashing Zhu Yuanzhang, have set China ablaze with their fiery rhetoric and even fierier boats.
At the Battle of Lake Poyang, Zhu unleashed his secret weapon, a fleet of flaming ships that would make even the most seasoned pyromaniac blush. Eyewitnesses report that the Yuan forces were caught completely off guard as they scrambled to escape the inferno.
Local fisherman Li Wei exclaimed, "I've never seen so many burning boats. It was like a floating barbecue, but instead of delicious meats, it was cooking corrupt officials."
The Red Turban's victory has sent shockwaves through the region, with reports of panic buying of red fabric and increased enrollment in millinery courses. Meanwhile, Zhu Yuanzhang has declared the formation of the Ming Dynasty, promising a new era of prosperity, justice, and fabulous headwear for all.
1862.
Union forces have captured the Confederate port of Galveston, Texas, in what can only be described as a naval drive-by shooting. Eyewitnesses report seeing Union ships pull up to the harbor, yell, "Surprise, Johnny Reb," and proceed to unleash a barrage of cannon fire that would make even the most hardened pirate blush.
Local resident Jebediah Cornpone described the scene. "One minute I was sipping my sweet tea, the next I'm ducking cannonballs like they was baseballs at a drunken church picnic."
The Union's victory was short-lived, however, as Confederate forces, led by the infamous General John Magoo Magruder, managed to retake the city using nothing but a slingshot, 3 chickens, and a particularly aggressive goat named Bessie.
Galveston's brief occupation has left its mark on the local population. Mrs. Eugenia Hoopskirt, a prominent socialite, lamented, "Those Yankees didn't even have the decency to use coasters. My great-grandpappy's mahogany table will never be the same."
1957.
The Soviet Union has launched a metal ball into space, causing widespread panic and confusion. The satellite, named Sputnik 1, is reportedly beeping incessantly, driving dogs across the globe mad with its high-pitched signal.
The United States government has responded by immediately tripling its budget for oversized rockets and funny-looking spacesuits. President Eisenhower was quoted as saying, "We cannot allow a beeping gap."
Meanwhile, conspiracy theorists are having a field day. Renowned tinfoil hat wearer Looney Lou claims the satellite is actually a mind control device. "It's turning us all into communists," he shrieked, before attempting to stuff his ears with mashed potatoes.
The space race has officially begun, and humanity will never be the same. Or at least, that's what the metal ball wants us to think.
News Bang, disrupting the suck and stink of spin, 50 cent at a time.
And now, for a forecast more turbulent than a bag of ferrets in a tumble dryer, it's the meteorological maestro, Shakanaka Giles.
Good evening, viewers. Over in chilly Chesterfield, it's so cold those pigeons are wearing scarves. A right nippy one, perfect for huddling indoors with a hot water bottle and a good grumble. Just don't go blaming me for your frozen pipes. Up in frosty Falkirk, the snow is falling thicker than dandruff at a barber convention. We're talking snowdrifts taller than a double-decker bus, and icicles longer than a politician's promises. If you're heading out, wrap up warmer than a polar bear in a parka. Down in drizzly Dover, prepare for a right soaking. Rain coming down sideways, cats and dogs, maybe even the odd goldfish. It'll be wetter than a mermaid's bath. Best grab your wellies, your brolly, and maybe an inflatable dinghy, just to be safe. And that's all the weather.
(1925).
Sacre bleu! It seems those Syrian chaps in Hama have decided to give the French a taste of their own medicine. And it's not a croissant. Fawzi al-Kawukji and his rebel buddies have kicked those colonial chaps out faster than you can say omelette du fromage. Rumour has it those French officials are in a right tizzy, searching for their lost legionnaires and wondering if they can reclaim Hama with nothing but a baguette and a white flag. For a taste of this colonial kerfuffle, we go to our man on the ground, Brian Bastable, who's dodging bullets and baklava as we speak. Brian, is it a French farce or a Syrian showdown?
Martin, Hama's hotter than a croissant straight out of the oven. Those rebel lads are running riot and the French are retreating faster than a snail in a salt mine. The streets are a scene of utter chaos with more explosions than a Bastille Day celebration gone wrong. I just saw a bloke riding a donkey through the marketplace, firing his rifle in the air and shouting something about freedom and baklava. The French, bless their berets, are barricaded in their barracks, presumably trying to surrender, with a white flag, made out of a tablecloth and a bottle of vin rouge. Not sure it's going to work. Fawzi al-Kawukji, the rebel leader, is holding court in the main square, surrounded by his men and a rather large pile of captured French weaponry. He's looking like a cat who got the cream, and the cream's spiked with gunpowder. This rebellion's got legs, Martin, and it's wearing army boots. This is Brian Bastable Newsbang signing off from a city that's traded croissants for chaos and baguettes for bullets.
1363.
And now, a fiery tale from the annals of history. On this day in 1363, rebel leader Zhu Yuanzhang set the Yuan Dynasty ablaze at the Battle of Lake Poyang. Using ingenious fire ships, Zhu torched the enemy fleet, igniting a revolution that would birth the Ming Dynasty. It seems even in the 14th century, playing with matches could lead to regime change. For more on this incendiary incident, we go to our crime correspondent Ken Schitt. Ken, was this arson or just good tactics?
Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up your codpieces because we're about to dive into a shitstorm of epic proportions. The year is 1363, and China's gone to hell in a handbasket faster than a eunuch at a brothel. Enter the Red Turban Rebellions, a clusterfuck of peasant rage against the Yuan Dynasty's oppressive rule. These rebels, mad as badgers with their balls in a vice, decided enough was enough and took up arms against their Mongol overlords. But hold on to your chopsticks, because here comes the main event, the Battle of Lake Poyang. Rebel leader Zhu Yuanzhang, a crafty bastard with more tricks up his sleeve than a monkey on meth, faced off against Chen Yuliang's fleet. Now, Chen thought he had it in the bag with his big-ass tower ships, but Zhu, that magnificent son of a whore, had other ideas. He sent in fire ships, turning the lake into a barbecue pit hotter than Satan's asshole after a vindaloo. As Chen's ships went up in flames like a dragon's fart, Zhu seized control of the Yangtze River Valley. This victory was the match that lit the fuse on the powder keg of Chinese history, blasting the Yuan Dynasty into oblivion and paving the way for Zhu's own Ming Dynasty. So remember, you sniveling maggots, when life hands you lemons, set them on fire and hurl them at your enemies' faces. This is Ken Schitt, reminding you that history is written by the bastards crazy enough to burn their own ships.
Verse 1448.
Breaking news from the Balkans. Skanderbeg, Albania's legendary warrior prince, has signed a peace treaty with his longtime rival, Gjergj Arianiti, bringing an end to the Albanian-Venetian War. This conflict, which began as a territorial dispute, has kept diplomats and map makers alike scrambling. The treaty's details are still under wraps, but sources suggest that Venice may have surrendered more than just their claim to a fortress. They may have also given up their entire stockpile of gondolas and promised to supply Skanderbeg with a lifetime supply of olive oil. For more on this historic accord, we go now to Hardiman Pesto, our man in the Balkans.
Martin, I'm here in the ancient city of Alessio, where the atmosphere is electric. Celebrations are erupting in the streets as people rejoice at the news of peace. I've managed to secure an exclusive interview with the man of the hour, Skanderbeg himself. He's standing right here beside me, looking magnificent in his goat head helmet. Skanderbeg, a word for our viewers?
Greetings, friends. Skanderbeg is pleased to bring peace to Albania. Venetians are cowards. Ottomans are dogs. Albania is strong.
Pesto, are you sure that's Skanderbeg? He sounds like he's channeling a character from a low-budget sword and sandal epic.
Martin, who else would be wearing a helmet like that and sporting such a magnificent mustache? It's clearly Skanderbeg. Isn't that right, your lordship?
Skanderbeg is strongest warrior in Albania. He crush enemies like grapes.
Pesto, I think you've been duped. That man is clearly not Skanderbeg. He's probably a local blacksmith who you bribed with a flagon of wine.
Nonsense, Martin. I have a keen eye for historical figures. And besides, this man's helmet is definitely authentic. I think I saw it on sale at the gift shop on the way in.
Well, there you have it. Hardiman Pesto reporting from wherever he is. We'll be back after the break with a more accurate assessment of the situation in Albania. Stay tuned.
A night to cease at 1941.
And now, a blast from the past that's more explosive than a tin of wartime spam. On this day in 1941, Norman Rockwell unleashed Willie Gillis upon an unsuspecting America. This everyman soldier, modelled after a local lad named Robert Buck, graced the Saturday Evening Post, becoming the face of wartime resilience. From care packages to combat, Willie's journey captivated a nation, appearing on 11 covers and etching himself into the American psyche. For more on this artistic assault on the home front, we cross to our American correspondent, Melody Wintergreen.
It's a day that will live in infamy as the everyman American soldier takes his place in the annals of history. Here at the Norman Rockwell Museum in Stockbridge, Massachusetts, the iconic image of Willie Gillis has sprung to life 83 years after his debut on the cover of the Saturday Evening Post. The year is 1941, and this quintessential GI is about to become the face of the American war effort. Rockwell's brush has conjured up a character that encapsulates the grit, the gumption, and the good-natured resilience of the common Joe heading off to battle. There's Willie, clutching that precious package from home, a humble everyman thrust into the maelstrom of global conflict. But this is no mere caricature. Rockwell has imbued his creation with a soulful humanity that will resonate across the nation. As the Post's presses roll, America is about to meet its new icon. From basic training to the front lines, Willie Gillis will march into the hearts and minds of a nation at war. Rockwell's covers will chronicle the trials and tribulations of this relatable GI, his story becoming a mirror for the sacrifices and struggles of an entire generation. The Willie Gillis package from home cover may be the first, but it won't be the last. Over the next 5 years, this humble soldier will grace 11 iconic Post covers, his image etched into the collective consciousness of a country united in its wartime resolve. Willie Gillis, the quintessential everyman, is about to become an American legend. So as the presses churn and the nation stands ready to meet its new hero, one thing is certain: the face of the American soldier will never be the same. Melody Wintergreen, Newsbang News, reporting live from the Norman Rockwell Museum in Stockbridge, Massachusetts.
News bang. Insulting, accusing, suspecting, but never guessing. 1957.
And now, for a science report that's more out of this world than a space hopper powered by rocket fuel, it's Calamity Prendeville. Calamity, what cosmic curiosities have you uncovered?
Hello viewers, tonight on Science Watch we're going back to 1957, the year those crafty Soviets launched Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite to orbit Earth. A feat of engineering, they called it. A triumph of Soviet science. But what they didn't want you to know is that Sputnik was actually inspired by a very British invention.
A chap named Reginald Poppycock, a tinkerer from Nether Wallop with a shed full of wonder, created the world's first orbital tea cosy, a revolutionary device that could keep your cuppa piping hot in the harsh vacuum of space. The Soviets, always keen on a good brew, got their hands on Reginald's blueprints, swapped the tea for some scientific gizmos, and bingo, Sputnik 1 was born. This beeping metal beach ball spent 3 weeks circling the Earth, transmitting coded messages that sounded suspiciously like Land of Hope and Glory, played on a kazoo. The Yanks, meanwhile, nearly choked on their cornflakes. They scrambled to launch their own satellite, desperately trying to attach rocket boosters to anything they could find. One top-secret project involved strapping a massive engine to a giant cheeseburger. Sadly, it never got off the ground.
So there you have it, viewers. The space race may have been won by the Americans, but it was a humble British tea cosy that launched it all. This is Calamity Prendeville, signing off.
There is news bang, slicing through the veil of truth to reveal the underlying beneath the beyond.
And now, for a regal romp through the dusty corridors of history, it's our own crown-obsessed charmer, Sandy O'Shaughnessy.
Nice and easy.
Top of the evening to you, my fine listeners. Sandy O'Shaughnessy here, your man for all things royal, with a story straight from the history books. Gather round and let's have a right royal chinwag. Now let's set our time machines back to 1209, a time when knights were bold, damsels were distressed, and crowns were all the rage. In the heart of Rome, young Otto IV, a lad with ambition bigger than a boar's head, was about to become Holy Roman Emperor. A grand affair, you might say, with more pomp and circumstance than a hen party at Buckingham Palace. I received a lovely letter from young Fiona in County Clare asking, Sandy, what exactly is a Holy Roman Emperor anyway? Sounds a bit like a contradiction in terms, doesn't it? Well, Fiona, you're not wrong. They weren't exactly holy, and most of them weren't Roman either. But Emperor? Oh yes, they loved a good bit of ruling the roost, these lads. Now, our Otto's coronation was a sight to behold. Picture St. Peter's Basilica, all decked out in gold and marble, with incense swirling and choirs singing like angels on overtime. There's Pope Innocent III, looking very serious in his fancy hat, about to plonk the crown on Otto's head. I like to imagine young Otto whispering, Say, Your Holiness, that crown's a bit pinchy, isn't it? Could we maybe loosen it a smidge? But it wasn't all fancy hats and scepters for Otto. Oh no, he had his fair share of troubles, including a bit of a falling out with the Pope. It seems even back then you couldn't trust those fellas in frocks. Anyway, it just goes to show, my dears, that even emperors have their ups and downs. One minute you're wearing a crown, the next you're dodging papal pronouncements and wondering if you've left the iron on. So, as we raise a glass to Otto IV and his turbulent times, remember folks, life's a roller coaster. Enjoy the ride. This is Sandy O'Shaughnessy, signing off.
All over the
News bang. No fear, no favor, just the facts, ma'am.
And just time to have a look at tomorrow's papers. The Times. River pours into tunnel in Minneapolis mishap. There's a diagram there of a tunnel. The Mail. Argentine guerrillas hijack plane and grab airport. That's for the third time this month. The Guardian lead with US plane downed by Nicaraguans while carrying Contra arms. There's a map there of Central America. The Telegraph go with man lives on cat food for 17 years. That's an exclusive. And finally, the Daily Star. Wild boar on loose in Guildford. That's all from us tonight. Due to bad weather, the continuing Tory party conference has been put back till the spring. And that's it. We leave you with the sound of something silly.
Tune in next time for more artificially intelligent hilarity. News Bang is a comedy show, written and recorded by AI. All voices impersonated. Nothing here is real. Good night.